What? Eating cabbage will turn you into a bald donkey? Why did the capitalists in Paris in the 15th century say that the poor could not afford bread and salt but only eat cabbage just to stay alive? And why does the United States designate February 17th as National Cabbage Day every year? Don't panic. Let's look at these questions one by one. By the way, my name is Joyke. I'm so glad to meet you as long as you smash the subscribe button and like the video. Well, recently, a new camel for M13 appeared in Call of Duty Mobile Chinese server. It's called 蔬菜精灵. Read after me, please. 蔬菜精灵. Since this has not been put into the international server yet, I don't exactly know its English name. So let's just call it Cabbage Genie. After I did some research on the art style of this camel, I found out that the design of Cabbage Genie mainly comprises cabbage leaves and a dog head. In Chinese, it's 菜狗, which means a player is a rookie and also as dumb as a dog. It is a bad word, so I don't recommend you to use it in front of your Chinese friends unless you want to get your ass kicked. Well, let's cut to the chase. As Steve Jobs said, stay hungry, stay foolish. I began to study the history of cabbage. Unexpectedly, it turns out that there really is an animal that is entangled with cabbage. That is the donkey. The English word cabbage actually comes from an old French word, caboche, which means head. So the emoji with a dog's head growing in cabbage must be a coincidence, right? The first question is, why does eating cabbage could turn you into a donkey? There is a story in Grimm's fairy tales called The Donkey Cabbage. A long time ago, a hunter as handsome as me saved a tiny old man. The old man said,
"Oh, you are truly a good guy. Let me tell you how to get a teleportation cloak that makes you the Doctor Strange, and a golden ball that makes you find a gold coin under your pillow every morning, which can turn you into Bill Gates. And even though I know how to get these two magic things, I would not mind giving the chance to you, because you are as handsome as Joyke and I'm okay to be a dumb-ass loser."
So the hunter successfully obtained two magic items. Well, an old witch heard about it and became greedy. She forced her beautiful daughter to approach the hunter with a sex trap. She screamed at her daughter,
"If you don't steal the magic items by tonight, I will turn you into Cinderella tomorrow."
In the end, the daughter successfully stole the two magic items from the hunter. And the hunter became desperate and depressed after losing both woman and fortune. And when he almost ran out of food, he passed by a cabbage garden. He accidentally found two kinds of unique cabbage. One would turn him into a donkey after eating it, and the other would turn him back into a man. So the hunter took two kinds of cabbage and disguised himself as vengeance. He wanted to kill the witch for his revenge.
Knock knock. Who's there? It's your daddy. No, I am your huge fan, my queen. You are so gorgeous. Even Snow White cannot match you. This is the most delicious cabbage I brought you from ancient China just to make you happy.
The witch accepted the food without any doubt and even shared it with her whole family. And then her whole family became donkeys. The hunter then sold all the donkeys to a miller who looked naive but was actually cruel. After a period of time, the hunter came back to check the condition of the donkeys. He found out that the witch was dead while the daughter was still alive. The hunter took pity on her. He brought her back and fed her the other cabbage, which transformed her back into a human. The daughter appreciated that and said to him,
"Ah, dear. When I was luring you, I was actually lured by you and fell in love with you long ago. My mom forced me to leave you. I am so sorry."
Well, do you know where the cloak and stone are? Let's take them back and get married.
In the end, she helped the hunter retrieve his cloak and stone and then lived happily ever after. Well, this fairy tale story tells us, don't eat anything given by strangers. It can be dangerous because you might become a donkey due to food poisoning. Okay, that is a story about the donkey and cabbage. If you find it interesting, why not follow me and like the video? It will not break your bank, right? And please wait a minute. This video has not finished yet. There are two more unanswered questions, remember? The second question is, why did French people say that the poor could only afford cabbage but not bread and salt in the 15th century? This information is quoted from a French diary about poverty in 1420. For a math and a poor people ate no bread, nothing but cabbages and turnips and such dishes without any bread or salt. The reason the poor couldn't afford bread and salt and could only live on cabbage and radish was that the price of corn and flour went up at that time, and many poor people could not afford to buy flour and salt because their wages were so low that they could only survive by eating cabbage and radish. The author also said, In the year 1420, you might see all over Paris here 10, there 20 or 30 children, boys and girls dying of hunger and of cold on the rubbish heaps. Well, a few years before 1420, in 1415, France lost the Battle of Agincourt to England. In 1418, Paris was occupied by John the Fearless, Duke de Burgundy, whose political and economic interest favored an agreement with the English. In 1419, French King Charles VI was murdered by his opponents, and son of John, Philip the Good, formed an alliance with the English and negotiated the treaty with the English king. In 1420, France signed the Treaty of Choice with England. At that time, France's economy had not recovered from the war and dispute yet. Many places were suffering from famine and cold, and prices rose, making it more difficult for the poor to survive. And that is a reason why there are so many poor in France in 1420. Okay, last question. What is the origin of National Cabbage Day on February 17th in the USA? Well, I bet not all Americans know this date. It is said that probably early European colonists brought cabbage seeds to the Americas and planted them, despite the lack of written evidence of its existence there until the mid-17th century. By the 18th century, cabbage was commonly planted by both colonists and Native American Indians. After the American Revolutionary War, when the independence of the United States of America was secured from Great Britain, some point later, people began to celebrate National Cabbage Day. That's all. There is not much information on the internet about who initiated the National Cabbage Day and when it was celebrated at the first time. Or maybe my investigation was not enough. If you know anything, please leave a comment below. Thanks a lot. At the end of the video, I decided to develop a donkey head cabbage emoji because we all know that cabbage plus dog's head equals rookie and dumb, right? But in order to build a harmonious society, I think a donkey's head cabbage must coexist. If the dog head cabbage is used to make fun of players who are not good at the time, then the donkey head cabbage is to describe those poorly educated bullies with filthy mouths. After all, their overbearing voices are surprisingly like donkey spray.